From the McCormick Gymnasium in Fargo, North Dakota, good evening, everybody. I'm Jed Thomas alongside my partner Jake Pollard as we get set for North Dakota High School girls basketball action as the Shanley Deacons get ready to take on the Devils Lake Firebirds. Well, folks, it's our first basketball broadcast of the year here on Shanley TV, and I can't think of a better game to kick things off with. The undefeated Deacons taking on the undefeated Firebirds. Jake, how excited are you for tonight's game?
I mean, obviously there's a lot of excitement. I mean, you can kind of feel in the stadium here. You got two early undefeateds matching up for the evening and kind of get an early season view on some later season action. Yeah, absolutely. You get an idea of just how good these two teams are, so hopefully we'll get an idea here tonight as the two undefeateds go at it, like you said, Jake. For now, we're going to have to send things down to the PA announcer, but don't go anywhere. High school basketball action on Shanley TV will be right back after that. The Devils Lake Firebirds. Girls high school basketball action is next after a brief word from our sponsors.
This broadcast is presented by American Family Insurance, Ken Craft Agency, Bell Bank, Beyond Boundaries Therapy Services, Butler Machinery, Ed's Marine, the Fargo Jet Center, First International Bank and Trust, Forum Communications, Haley's Hope, Hurley's Religious Goods, Luther Family Buick GMC, Master Construction, Moore Engineering, Network Center, Northern Improvement, Off the Wall Advertising, Robert Gibb and Sons, Sanford, Shields, Taxman, TCI Insurance, and Wolf Steel Construction.
Welcome back to North Dakota High School basketball action here on Shanley TV. I'm Jed Thomas, of course, joined by Jake Pollard as we are getting set for our first basketball broadcast of this year. We've got the Shanley Deacons taking on the Devils Lake Firebirds in girls basketball action. Jake, we touched earlier on the implications this game will have as we're talking about two undefeated teams here. Not only that, though, from a team perspective, but there's also some good individual matchups to watch. Who do you see as being those key individual performers here this evening?
Absolutely, Jed. For Firebirds, number 24, Ramsey Brown, is a really high producer on the court, can move the ball, get it into the basket. And then for all-around, number 15, Vetch, is a very good team player and can all-around benefit everyone. Looking at the Deacons side of things, Riley Point's another very high scorer. She got her 1,000th point just last week. And Hadley Huber can definitely take control of the court and influence the game.
No doubt about that, Jake. It's similar players there for both teams. Riley Payne, more the point scorer for Shanley, as is Ramsey Brown for Devils Lake. Meanwhile, Vetch, kind of that all-around player, gets a lot of assists, very good facilitator. Hadley Huber has that same role with the Deacons. So there are definitely some parallels between these two teams. Unsurprising, of course, given that they are both undefeated at this point, both expected to have good seasons. And, of course, though, tonight we'll see which one is better at this stage in the year. It's early yet, but this should be a good indicator as to who has the leg up going forward in what should be a very competitive race to be atop in the EDC. With that, we are underway as Payne will win the opening tip back to Olivia Manuel to start things off here. Manuel going to set up at the top of the key, giving over to Huber and now to Kate Busick. Busick goes inside to Payne. Payne looking for someone in the paint. No one open, and so she goes to Manuel. Manuel driving hard, goes down. Payne picks up the loose change, but gets nothing but air on the layup attempt. Coming back down the court now are the Firebirds. It's Vetch going inside to Brown. Brown with Huber right on top of her. Good feed inside, trying to go back. That time doesn't connect with Vetch. And so the Firebirds reset. Tight defense played by Heinrich. Vetch gets rid of it, going over to Winju. Winju to the corner, over to Mertens, back to Vetch out top. Firebirds cycling the ball around. Shanley smothering on defense right now. Winju in the corner, has Vetch. Right back to Winju. And now finally an opening inside, and 2 points for the Firebirds. It's Kira Olsen.
What a feed down low there by Olsen.
Yeah, great vision that time to find the open girl and get the points. And now some nice defense that time as well, as the ball is going to be poked out of bounds. Payne will inbound now to Busick. Kate Busick. She is the primary facilitator, at least so far this year, for Shanley. Racked up a good deal of assists. Huber with Brown right on top of her. Pivoting, trying to get it back to Busick. That ball didn't quite have enough strength, but Busick was able to get back to it. And now a steal in the defensive zone for the Firebirds, and a jump ball will be called. And Jake, boy, Devils Lake has come out flying so far tonight.
Absolutely. But to match that, Shanley's defense has been right there, very tight, and now they're picking up full court press.
Yeah, that is true, Jake. They were really tight, although now they're going to leave an opening here as Mertens gets the bounce pass over to Olsen. Olsen cannot get it to go, though. Heinrich did a great job coming back on that play. And now it looks like it will be Deacon ball as Olsen fell out of bounds, the last one to touch it. Great hustle there from the senior Heinrich. Huber finds Manuel. Firebirds playing with the press right now as Heinrich finds Busick wide open in the corner for three, and she sinks it. That's what Shanley needed, able to find their legs here now and take a 3-2 lead. Vetch to Mertens. Bounce pass to Olsen. That's the second time we've seen him exploit that play, but the second time they have just failed to connect on it. Manuel tied up now, and another jump ball, this time forced by Winju.
Devils Lake really moving the ball well early here. Definitely the more active team here on offense.
Yeah, just playing a faster brand of basketball than the Deacons at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if they can maintain that pace of play, though, for a full game. So far, it's been effective, but it's certainly tough to keep that going. Busick has it now. Along the far side to Manuel. Manuel inside to Huber. Huber now with two girls right on her, trying to spin around past Brown, working along the baseline, and it's poked out of bounds by the Firebirds. Tight defense continues for the visitors. 10 seconds left on the shot clock as Shanley maintains a 3-2 lead. Payne trying to connect with Manuel, I think, that time, but too strong for her, and Busick will have to retrieve. Busick going to drive in, launches one for two, and gets it.
Great play there by the young player to take control of the offense with the shot clock winding down.
Kate Busick looking to have an increased role with this team this season. So far, she's been quite effective, as you saw there. She's got all 5 points for the Deacons. Winju has it now, going across to Brown. Brown, open shot, couldn't get it to go, though. Ball tipped back, trying to find Vetch, but could not. Busick scoops it up for the Deacons and now has it at the top of the key. Busick looks right, now goes left to Manuel. Manuel inside, intended for Payne. And Jake, the Deacons just look a little out of sync so far.
Yeah, they're not quite clicking here on offense, but to contrast that, the Firebirds are finding the open person. They're just struggling to put it in the basket.
Yeah, both teams kind of with opposite problems here. So far it's the Deacons, though, who've been able to maintain an edge. And there's a great defensive play made by Manuel. Heinrich collects, gives over to Huber. Huber had an open look, holds on to it, though, goes to Payne. Payne for three, and she sinks it. Riley Payne, having just scored her 1,000th point in her last game. She's been a heck of an offensive player for the Deacons, although, man, defensively they're having some troubles, as again, there's two wide open girls deep in Deacon territory. Busick with the press on her, gets it over to Heinrich, who gets it over to Huber, and then finds a wide open Payne. And suddenly, Jake, this game is kind of busted wide open. Both teams forgetting to play defense on those last two possessions.
Absolutely. Always an open man here early.
Again, Devils Lake gets two girls down low. Heinrich there to break it up, but a foul committed by the Deacons, and that'll be the first of the evening for either team.
This full court press that Shanley's putting on is paying off early on, but they're squeaking players down low further down the court and taking advantage.
Yeah, they're flying a couple girls high, leaving them down there almost cherry picking, and it's working out well for them because Shanley, for whatever reason, just can't seem to pick up on them. Last two times, Natalie Heinrich has done a good job getting back there, kind of sensing what's happening down low, but it's only one girl against two, so Shanley's going to have to try and get more numbers down there. Good on both free throws that time. We're the Firebirds, as now it's going to be a turnover for Shanley. Good defense along that far line, and Huber stepped out with it, so Devils Lake going to get another opportunity now as Vetch looks to inbound. Vetch finds Winju working at the top of the key, cuts back inside. Wide open is Brown, who puts it off the glass and in for two. Huber going deep with this one, finds Heinrich. Heinrich stops, goes back to Payne looking for another three. She was open and she gets it.
Payne finding a way for the Deacons to get some points on the board here early.
Yeah, the three ball working really well so far for Shanley. They're 3 for 3. In a bit of trouble that time, it was Olsen, able to get it away, though, to Winju out top. Winju over to Mertens in the corner. Heinrich on her. Ball back to Winju. Slices through two defenders. A little short on that one. Olsen had it poked away, though, by Heinrich. Busick wide open with it for the easy layup, and it's true. 15-8 our score with 13:33 left in the first half. Offense was hard to come by at first, but things have since opened up. Vetch now has it out top. She'll pass over to Winju. Now Mertens on the near wing. Mertens in the corner to Vetch. And Vetch has it stolen. She was caught looking. Payne got down there to take it away. And now here's Busick with it. Busick trying to slow things down after the Riley Payne steal. She looks to her left. Payne is there. It was poked away momentarily by Mertens. Ball now over to Manuel for a long two. And she's too strong on it off the rim. Winju driving down, bounce pass over to Olsen. They've tried that play a lot. Olsen has had trouble finishing, though, as you saw there. Mertens back to Winju. Now Vetch out top. Long three, and she gets it. 15-11 now, the gap closing as Natalie Heinrich collects an awkward pass, tries to get it over to Manuel, broken up multiple times. Shanley still able to hang on though. Payne over to Huber on the near side. Huber thought about the shot, now she'll take it inside, comes right back out, going for Heinrich, and again, Shanley not too crisp on those passes inside. Someone got a hand on that ball, still found its way to Mertens though, and that's another 2 points.
You're saying it, Jed. This is pretty hectic here early.
Yeah, neither team really has settled in. A lot of turnovers, and there's another as Mertens goes to the corner to Vetch, who drives against Busick, but a travel will turn that one right back.
Lots of sloppy passes, just not really locked in here early, and it's kind of leading to either team not really getting into any sort of rhythm.
Exactly, Jake, and that's why we're so close right now. Neither team has really been able to pull away because it's just been that back-and-forth sloppy play like you said. A substitution for the Deacons as Lydia Mattern will check in. Huber collects the pass with pressure on her. Now a double team along the far side. Make that a triple team as Huber is in heaps of trouble. And now a timeout taken by the Deacons as that ferocious defense from the Firebirds got to him that time.
Something early to note here is every time I've seen Hadley Huber touch the ball, there's been at least 2, if not 3 people swarming her. So their Firebirds are trying to find something early here to try to stop some playmakers on offense and turn it into some easy points for them.
Yeah, they've really been locking down on Huber, Jake. Surprised we haven't seen that double team pulled as much on Payne. You know, Payne more of the primary scoring threat. Huber more of the facilitator, plays the all-around game. But we know she's capable of scoring, and they have done a good job keeping her off the scoreboard tonight. You would think, though, they're going to have to pay a little more attention to Payne, though, as she is doing some damage, especially with that 3-ball.
Absolutely. Also seems there's a substitution here. Kelly Chrisman into the game, get some maybe some post game going.
Yeah, Chrisman, one of those post players that's going to be looking to replace Sierra Berg, a top player graduated off last year's team. As Huber goes up for the 2, can't get it, tries again, and it won't go. Brown takes it away on the rebound, and now here goes Ramsey Brown running down court. Busick got in the way, able to force the turnover. Kate Busick headed back. Now Mertens pokes it away from her, though. Good D by Mertens, takes a step, trying to get it back to Johnson. It's poked up high in the air and then knocked out of the arms of Abby Hellman. Loose ball, it's now Shanley's as Kate Busick will carry it across the half-court line and go over to Huber. Hadley Huber makes a move, working against Brown. Brown stays on top of her. Now back to Mattern, inside to Chrisman. Chrisman makes a nice move, too strong on the shot, though, and the rebound's collected by Mertens. Mertens across, intended for Johnson. Payne got up there to steal it like a D-back in football. Payne going for the layup. That won't work. And so it's back the other way for Devils Lake. Pass too strong and out of bounds, and Jake, again, the sloppy play really showing.
Absolutely, in about a 30-second time span there. I think there were 3 or 4 steals or missed passes there. There's if one of the 2 teams were to really get into a rhythm, I think they could really make something happen here.
Payne trying to connect with Huber. Pass was jumped by Winju. They'll call a foul against her, though, as she kind of went shoulder to shoulder there. So it'll be Deacon ball now. Each team has 1 foul apiece. And that ball going right back out. 24 seconds on the shot clock here. 15-13 lead for the Deacons with 11 minutes even to go. And now we have a conference at the scorer's table as they're trying to sort something out.
Yeah, Jed, not quite sure what that's about there, but seem to have it all straightened out now.
Yeah, it looked like a clock issue as they added 3 more seconds to the shot clock. And again, here comes that pressure from Devils Lake as the ball is cycled inside to Mattern. Mattern out to Payne on the wing. Payne has it poked away by Mertens, and she continues to be a problem defensively.
Mertens working very hard on the defensive side of the ball, especially.
Winju inside to Johnson. Johnson able to find Hellman, now outside to Vetch. Vetch cuts it inside, looking for the 2. It's off the rim, no good. Johnson got the board, blocked by Huber, but she's fouled underneath. Be the second trip to the line here for Devils Lake.
It's interesting to note that the Devils Lake has been getting lots of quality looks on offense despite all the sloppiness, but they really just haven't been able to get the ball into the hoop and get some points on the board.
Absolutely, Jake. They've had trouble finishing. The Deacons, meanwhile, really have not had that issue. They haven't generated as many opportunities, but they've done a good job capitalizing when they have, especially with that 3-ball. When they found open looks, they have not really missed. Free throw's good to make it 15-14 now as that ball's headed out of bounds. And it's another turnover for Shanley. Not at all what you want right now as they're on their heels a little bit. Certainly they're still up by 1 with 10:30 to go in the first half, so you're not sounding the alarms. But it's been a while since we've seen something good out of them as Mattern tried to get something going defensively, and that ball is then lost by Johnson in her own legs. Here's Huber now coming down. Mertens putting pressure on from behind. Huber still with it. Mertens able to take it away once again. Throws it out of bounds off the legs of Huber. And goodness gracious, Jake, Jess Mertens just does not quit on defense.
Absolutely, Jed. Really strong hustle play there. Not only on the defensive side of the ball, like I was saying earlier, but she's really working hard in the offense, moving. And if they can settle down, I think they can definitely take advantage of her hard work ethic early on.
So here's Vetch going across, intended for Ziegler, I think, but that one far too strong. And I'm not sure if she just misjudged where Ziegler was or if she thought someone was over there to the right of Ziegler. Nonetheless, that's a good break for Shanley. So here is Kate Busick at the top of the key. Payne just able to collect that one. Finds Busick open for 3. Off the rim, no good. Rebound collected by Mertens. Mertens coming down. Stops. Spots up. No good on the 2-ball. Huber going to collect. Huber with Mertens on top of her. Here's that double team once again. Trying to find Payne. Excellent job by Vetch to take it away. Vetch stripped it, and then she was fouled going for the basket.
We saw it again there. The double team on Hadley Huber resulted in another turnover, and results in Firebirds getting to the line.
And yeah, Huber that time had the right idea. She knew Payne was open to her left, tried to spin around and get the pass off, and right as she spun around, it just it was almost like a handoff into the arms of Vetch. And then obviously Vetch fouled here, and that's why she's at the line.
Firebirds taking advantage of free throws tonight. I think they're perfect thus far.
Yeah, this is the 3rd trip they've had to the charity stripe, and Shanley, meanwhile, has not been there once as of yet. Firebirds doing a good job limiting their fouls. So it is now a 16-15 lead for Devils Lake. Their first in a while, their first since the start of the game, as Huber again has the double team all over her, throwing it up there, and that ball's intercepted by Ziegler. Getting it to Vetch for 3, and she gets it! How about this turnaround for Devils Lake, now up 19-15. The press giving Shanley fits right now. Huber has a few girls open. She goes to Payne. Payne can't convert, but she is fouled, and that's a good break for the Deacons.
Yeah, they really needed something to kind of stop the action. The Devils Lake was starting to get a little bit of a groove there. They were getting some turnovers without turning it back over to the Deacons and did some points on the board there.
So let's see if Payne can do some damage here at the line. 1 for 1, converts the first. Payne, a very physical player. She does a good job drawing contact in the offensive zone, and she goes 2 for 2 here at the line. As now Manuel will come in for Huber. Huber, no doubt, tired after being just harassed defensively. They've been all over her.
You said it. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they continue to keep the next player for a double team.
Well, great play by Mattern here, doing her best Devils Lake impression as she makes the interception, and then it looks like she was fouled there after she collected it. And that's a great series there for Shanley. Mattern able to take it away and draw the foul. And Jake, yeah, you said it. With Huber out now, I almost wonder if we'll see the attention, be turned to either Kate Busick or Riley Payne.
Absolutely.
So here's Kelly Chrisman with it, outside the arc, moves in, then moves right back out. She's looking with Brown in her face, trying to generate some contact, some wild elbows there, and I think they'll get her for just being a little too out there with the elbows. Using them to clear space, and you can't be doing that.
For sure, Jed. It'd be interesting to see if later on, as the game progresses, if Deacons decide to get maybe Kelly Chrisman down low to see if they can get maybe some high-low action going.
Yeah, I mean, that was the physicality they wanted from her. It just wasn't in the right spot, Jake. Outside the arc at the top of the key, those elbows are a lot more clear, and they're not going to do nearly the same effect as you want when you're inside the paint, as now it's a turnover for Devils Lake. Manuel going over to Busick. Busick with Johnson on her, going back to Payne. Payne down to Mattern, who was wide open, but they'll get Payne for the travel as Huber checks right back in. That's a quick breather for her, as we have 8:37 left in the first half. Mertens to inbound. Able to find Johnson with Busick right there. Johnson gets Busick away, then goes back to Mertens. Mertens straight back to Johnson as Manuel stays on her. Now Mertens will go near side over to Brown. Brown looking, has that one tipped by Busick, got back to it, but poked it out of bounds, and it'll be Shanley ball. Excellent defense played there by Busick.
Kind of seems here that maybe Shanley's starting to settle down a little bit. They've gotten some substitutions rolling, and maybe they'll be able to take control of the ball and turn in some good offense.
Yeah, they've done a good job now matching the pace Devils Lake has been bringing. They don't look quite as caught off guard as now Payne collects a tough ball and gets the points.
Great physical play there, down low, going up strong, not being afraid of the contact.
Mertens facing the double team, back to Winju, and Winju back to Mertens. Winju now with it at the top of the key, takes the contested three shot, won't go. Ziegler grabs the board, and Crispin rips it away. Crispin going over to Payne, and now Payne will let things settle down before bringing it up and giving to Huber. Huber, spin move, cutting into the paint, looking for two and has it blocked. Excellent play made by Vetch. Winju hesitates, then goes over to Mertens. Mertens breezing past Payne, looking for two and gets it.
Pretty drive there. Moving the ball well, and
Yeah, nice ball movement here for Shanley. Manuel over to Payne. It's a tic-tac-toe play.
That was pretty, just like you draw it up in practice, off of a made ball, moving the ball, getting down the court.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Not too often you get to execute that cleanly in a live game scenario. Firebirds slow it down. Winju's got it out top. She goes over to Vetch, who goes right back to her. Winju directing traffic. Payne is now down, slow to get up. Firebirds should try and take advantage here of an odd number situation. And now a whistle and a stoppage in play.
Payne appeared to take a pretty hard hit there. She's kind of collecting herself. See what happens here.
Yeah, it looked like the ball was poked out of bounds by Shanley with 4 seconds left. Payne going to stay in, looking shaken up. 4 seconds left on the shot clock, I should say. And that shot clock going to run down as Devils Lake was probably going to lose the ball anyway there. 6:50 remaining in the first half here. Payne will look to inbound. Payne goes to Manuel. Manuel going to bring it across half court now. She goes to Heinrich in the corner. Heinrich cutting inside, finds Chrisman wide open. Chrisman, not much of a shooter though, looking to go inside to Payne. Was too strong that time. And Chrisman, you know, the Firebirds know it. She's a heck of a post player, but not as much range as some of these other Deacon players, so they left her open there, kind of forced her to have to pass it inside. They were able to get numbers back in there and kind of forced the bad pass. Winju going to Mertens in the corner. Mertens for three off the rim, no good. Winju collects the rebound. In the corner, it's now Olsen. Olsen back to Winju. Manuel tight on her. Brown to Winju, open for three. Manuel got there to contest it, and it's no good off the rim, but the offensive rebounds are coming in spades for Devils Lake, as that's a basket for Mertens, and a timeout now by Devils Lake, interestingly enough.
Excellent work there by Devils Lake on offense to really work hard. They got a few rebounds in a row there, and if you're, from the Deacons, you know, if you allow a team to do that enough times in a row, you're going to get points on the board.
Yeah, if you're Shanley, you just can't be giving up that many defensive rebounds. You know, Firebirds, like you said, were just all over the ball, finding it. Just a really good nose for the basketball. Those Devils Lake players were showing there. And, yeah, you're going to get points eventually if you're getting infinite tries there. So Shanley's got to try and lock that down. And, again, that's part of not having that, you know, solid defined post player like they had in Berg last year. Berg logged a lot of minutes playing inside, and they don't really have that anymore. They've got kind of a small ball lineup, which is the way basketball has been trending the last few years, but you still like to have that post player, as now this ball is intercepted and then turned right back over as Payne takes it away. Here goes Heinrich now. Heinrich across to Manuel. Manuel for three, and it's no good off the rim. Rebound collected that time by Olsen, facing a triple team, able to get it away to Winju. Winju with numbers, goes to Brown. Brown's going to be fouled by Payne, and she'll get a trip to the line. Back and forth action there. And this game just kind of keeps dissolving into those little flurries, Jake.
Yeah, all these little, like you said, almost flurries. They're just sloppy passes, too much air on the ball. Times you could really be looking to maybe slip a nice bounce pass in, and just back and forth, back and forth.
Brown no good on the first attempt, as Devils Lake leads at 23-21. And she does convert on the second. So that's 24-21 now in favor of the visitors. Payne makes a move to get some space, goes to Huber, straight back to Payne. Heinrich, good job staying in bounds. Pressure coming from behind, got it over to Huber. Huber now to Busick. Busick hesitates, cuts in, goes back to Huber with pressure on her. Mertens staying tight, Huber wheeling around, now back outside, intended for Heinrich, but stolen by Mertens, and then poked out of bounds by Huber.
You know, Jed, as this first half is kind of starting to wind down, it'll be interesting to see if one team can kind of take charge and go into halftime with a pretty solid feel and maybe some good momentum for the second half.
Yeah, always very important how those last couple minutes go in a half to determine how you're going to start the next half, and we'll see if one team can kind of pull away there, as that shot for three is no good. Huber collects the rebound, had it stolen momentarily by Winju, but a foul is going to be called.
Taylor Winju, second personal, fourth team foul. Deacon basketball.
Winju reaching in there a little too much that time. And so here is Busick now. Busick firing one intended for Huber, intercepted though by Brown, who gets the easy layup. And there have been a lot of points off of turnovers here for Devils Lake, generating a lot of them and scoring on a lot of them. Here's Manuel trying to get over to Heinrich, and they'll say Heinrich stepped out of bounds. There's another turnover.
You know, there's a lot of sloppiness, you know, on the both sides of the ball. But for Deacons, I know they got a lot of younger players out there, and I wonder if that it's a little inexperience, a little jitters, you know, early season. I wonder if that's contributing to a little bit of the kind of mishaps happening here early.
They are a team with only one senior in Natalie Heinrich, and Heinrich only joined this program last year as a junior. So, you know, not a ton of experience. They got some girls like Huber and Payne who've been starting for a while, as Payne makes a really nice defensive play there. But yeah, like you said, a fairly youthful team. Busick with it on the near side. No space to shoot. Trying to create some here, working against Olsen. Stops, goes between the legs, looking now over to Payne. Payne cuts inside, and it looks like they'll catch someone for a foul. It looked like a Firebird reached in there on Payne. That'll even things up at 5 team fouls apiece.
Calls number 21, Kiara Olsen, first personal.
Payne all the way over to Busick now off the inbound. Busick goes behind the back, scoops it up off the ground. And a whistle and another foul going against the Firebirds.
You know, this Firebirds aggression, you know, they're being very physical, attacking the ball, jumping passes, but it's kind of starting to wear off here as the first half winds down, resulting in a lot of fouls.
Chrisman moving in, has it knocked away, but before that even happened, they'll catch her for a travel. And yeah, Jake, you know, the Firebirds had done a really good job staying out of trouble in the foul department, but that last possession, the last few minutes, they've added quite a bit to their total, so that's something to watch. Often happens when you get fatigued, and, you know, they've really been pushing the pace of play. And even though they've been the ones setting the pace, you have to wonder if they might just tire themselves out here in the first half. You can only go at that fast of a speed for so long. On the near side, it's Johnson. Johnson going into the corner to Brown. Brown looks inside, then goes out. Has Mertens. Mertens over to Vetch. Vetch into the corner now. Johnson. Johnson all the way across to Brown. She finds space, looking for two. Off the glass, no good. Wanted the foul. Won't get it, though, and the ball's out of bounds. Last touched by Devils Lake. Here is Huber with it now off the inbound. Huber finds Mattern. Mattern looking, hesitates. Pressure coming. Vetch trying to rip it away. They call the jump ball, alternating possession, so it'll go with Devils Lake. And Jake, you talked about that momentum. You talked about who would, get the last few positive plays headed into halftime. And right now with a 5-point lead, Devils Lake looking to build themselves a nice little cushion headed into the break.
Absolutely, and here we got a couple quick turnovers as we got a 3-ball.
And that 3-ball no good from Johnson, and unable to collect the rebound that time was Hellman. So Shanley catching a break there. That would have been huge for Devils Lake, but now Deacons will have an opportunity with 3:14 left. Payne over to Huber, over to Mattern, to Chrisman. Great passing. Chrisman trying to finish, couldn't get it to go, but she was fouled.
That's some quality fast break offense, moving the ball, not putting the ball on the ground, and really just finding the open person, just got to finish the play.
And it's interesting, Jake, we've seen so many uncharacteristically bad passes from Shanley, especially early on, passes that, to be honest, weren't even on, close to being on the money. They were just weirdly off for a little bit to start. But then, as this game has gone on, we've seen a couple sequences like that where they've gone, tic-tac-toe and just been really crisp, executing well. So, it's been funny. They started off a little weird, especially by their standards, but they've settled in now as Chrisman hits both the free throws. Mertens has it, going over to Johnson now. Under 3 minutes left in the first. Mertens going to travel with it. She had it on the near side, but the travel will turn it over to Shanley now as they trail only by 3. And now maybe it will be the Deacons who take the momentum headed into half, as Kate Busick will bring it forward with 2:49 to go in the first. Mattern in the corner, going all the way across to Huber. Huber going inside. Looked like she wanted to give it out to Busick, and now she will. Busick looking for an open girl. Goes to Mattern inside the paint. Back out to Huber for 3, and she gets it to tie things up. Vetch coming down the court. Some energy in the building now as this Shanley crowd is energized by that 3-pointer from Huber. Vetch goes down hard. Some contact in there. Mattern jumps on top of the loose ball, and the jump ball will go the way of the Deacons. Now really the momentum swinging in favor of Shanley at the perfect time, Jake.
Great hustle play there by Lydia Mattern. Working hard right off a 3-ball, getting onto the court, getting turnover, back in Deacons' offense hands.
Busick with it. And now it looks like we might have a foul on Shanley, an offensive foul. And I'm not sure, Jake, if I saw that call, was it a moving screen?
I couldn't quite see there either, Jed. That definitely could be the situation here, though.
Well, nonetheless, it's going to be a turnover for Shanley at an unfortunate time as they really had everything kind of going their way there. The 3-pointer from Huber, some nice defensive plays. But now Devils Lake's got an opportunity to get back on top as Mertens launches the 3-pointer off the glass and in. 29-26 now as Huber will bring it down court. Looking to push the pace, she goes up to Busick. Busick circling around. Now over to Mattern. Mattern looks, cuts back inside. Going for Busick. Busick escaped for a minute, but good defense that time by Johnson to get back on top of her. Huber with it. Going inside to Chrisman. Chrisman, with a few girls in front of her, still converts. And now it's 29-28. Minute 25 to go now in the first half. Johnson with pressure in her face. Gets it over to Vetch, who is called for the travel. And now Shanley really with some energy.
Strong defense. See if Shanley can take this last minute 19, finish out a few good offensive possessions, and see which team ends up going into half up here.
So here is Huber into Chrisman. Chrisman over to Mattern. Mattern inside as it poked away. Great play made by Vetch. A whistle, and then it looks like a foul will be called against Mattern. Mattern trying to get that ball back and makes a little too much contact, the referee will say. So now both teams sitting at 7 fouls. In the bonus as Mattern will sub out. So at the line to shoot will be Vetch with 1:05 left to go in this half. 1-1, and the first attempt is good. So 30-28. Vetch looking to make it a 3-point game, and she will. So
Devil's Lake, perfect from the stripe here tonight, and that's really helping their cause.
yeah, they've done a great job at using that to their advantage as the Deacons move the ball really well. Firebirds trying to get their arms up there to knock those passes down. Payne did a good job elevating, though, in her own zone to start this off. So here is Busick with it now, looking for an opening. Can't find anything. Chrisman was there. Barely collected it, though. Now Chrisman looking inside. She'll hand off to Huber. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Huber has it poked away. It's loose. Chrisman trying to pick it up. Now down on the ground. Shot clock sounds. The buzzer sounds on the shot clock. I think they'll call it a jump ball, though. So jump ball, alternating possession. This should be Firebird basketball. No matter what you call. I mean, even if the shot clock ran out before they called it, obviously it'd be Firebird ball. And so now with 30 seconds left and 27 on the shot clock, have to imagine the Firebirds would be content to sit and wait, but apparently not as they go aggressive, and it doesn't pay off. Chrisman intercepting the pass. Busick has it now as Shanley can have the final shot. Chrisman driving in, and it looks like she was fouled, headed to the hoop.
Strong drive there by Chrisman, middle of the lane, through the defenders, and really not shying away from any contact here early.
Yeah, she's been very physical so far, and it's been paying off. 17 seconds left. Chrisman at the line now. Shooting the bonus, it appears. And unable to connect, so they'll get nothing from that trip to the line. Mertens trying to catch Shanley off guard. Finds Johnson. Johnson going up for two. Does not get it. Huber gets the board. Now looking for Heinrich. It's going to be picked up by Olsen. Pass was too strong.
Over and back, that seems to be the call here.
Yeah, I think so, Jake.
I guess I didn't really see that there.
Yeah,
but,
neither did I.
I didn't think the Firebirds had possession there before it was thrown. I thought that was thrown out over by the Deacons.
So a bit of a confusing call, but nonetheless, it gives Shanley a last-second shot here with 3.9 seconds left. The clock hasn't started, so, yeah, they've got to call that off. I mean, I assume they're just going to call that at the end of the half.
Yeah, absolutely. The clock didn't start there. I think ball had been in play for at least 5, so
yeah.
There's no way they can
Yeah, I don't think you can really – I'm not sure if that was a – yeah, they're just going to call the end of the half there, and I think that's the right call. And, it's unfortunate, but especially with Shanley being the home team, you kind of have to, you can't even argue – can't argue anything like, interference with
Sure
the play because, it's your own people running the clock. And it's unfortunate for the girls, and I'm not sure if that was a technical error or what, but kind of a wonky way to end the half. Really odd last minute and a half or so there, Jake.
Yeah.
It looked like the lead was going to change about 10 different times, and in the end, the points really didn't end up changing at all. We finished 31-28 in favor of the Firebirds.
Yeah, you're right there. It was kind of anticlimactic. There were a couple swings there from both teams where it seemed like one was kind of going to take control. There were turnovers resulting in points, and then they'd go right back ahead and commit a foul or a turnover, and the other team would run with it for a little bit. So it's kind of interesting to see which team's going to get a little pep in their step this halftime, settle down, and I think whoever does is definitely going to take control here.
Yeah, both teams just going to look to find separation, something they could not do in the first half, but they have a whole halftime to figure things out. Folks, we will step away for a few minutes, but don't go anywhere. It's going to be a great finish to this game in a couple minutes, so stick around. as we are getting set now for the second half of play here between the Shanley Deacons and the Devils Lake Firebirds. After one half, it was 31-28 in favor of Devils Lake. And we're just about ready to start off the second here. Looks like maybe a delay with the clock. Now we're ready to go. Payne will inbound to start things off here. Again, a 3-point lead for Devils Lake. Momentum not really in favor of either team at the end of the first. It was an odd end to the first for those of you who weren't watching. The clock failed to run with the final 3 seconds left as Shanley looked like they'd get a shot off and score some points before the end of the first. Instead, the clock failed to run, and they just called an end to the first half with that. So a bit of an awkward end there to the first. Neither team really came away with a feeling in either direction of, neither team really coming away with momentum. So now here we are as Devils Lake will get the ball off that failed offensive attempt by Shanley. Winju at the top of the key, going over to Vetch on the far side. Vetch cuts in, throws one up for two, and gets it.
Good clean look there by the Firebirds. Good defense by Shanley, but able to move the ball and find the open person.
Huber now with it, again facing that double team, tries to flip one underhand over to Busick, intercepted though by Devils Lake, and then turned right back over to Olivia Manuel. Huber going to Busick, cuts inside, great move to get past Vetch. Rebound though, fought for and won by the Firebirds as Winju throws it up to Brown. She's got Mertens open to her right. I don't know if she couldn't see her or if she just couldn't get the ball over to her, but Brown kept it herself and was stymied by Natalie Heinrich.
Early here in the second, but it's kind of early to see so many turnovers, and I kind of wonder if we aren't right back where we were the first half.
Yeah, we may just be going back to that back and forth style of play as Mertens tries the catch and shoot three that doesn't go. Huber, long ball down to Manuel. Manuel puts one high off the glass, no good. Vetch grabs the rebound, and now headed back the other way is Vetch. Vetch in the corner, able to find Mertens. Mertens inside to Brown. Brown spins, going for two, not quite, and Payne gets the board. Payne works her way past Winju. Great play by Mertens, diving on the ground. Good hustle, though, by Busick to get back on top of it. I think they might call Busick for a foul, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here, Jed.
That would make sense. She kind of dove onto the player.
That would make sense. I mean, you got to love the aggression, especially as a coach, to see your players laying out on the floor, but just went a little too far there early on.
Yeah, and I mean, not much she could do there. Trying to get to the ball, the body of the player was in her way, and that's just how it tends to go as Mertens flips one up for two. Pretty far out for a shot like that, but it falls for her, and now it's quietly kind of a 7-point lead for Devils Lake. Doesn't necessarily feel like it, but they're up 7 now. And there's another great defensive play. They don't get the steal, but they do force it out of bounds.
There we saw it again, the double team that we saw in the first half on Hadley Huber, trying to shut down a playmaker and have, wow, great point there.
Yeah, well, this time they don't double team her, and, well, they pay as Huber ran completely undefended straight to the basket, getting the easy layup. Here's Vetch with it now. Vetch across to Winju. Winju looks, cuts back inside. Goes over to Olsen, who goes up for two and gets it. 37-30 now our score. Huber looking down court. Bring it up the near side. Cuts back, hesitating. She'll go forward once again. She has Manuel open inside, just spots her at the tail end of that one. And now Manuel over to Payne for three, a deep three, and it doesn't go. Rebound grab by Winju. Heinrich and Busick right in her face. Winju able to get it away, though, to Mertens. Numbers down there for Devils Lake. Olsen barely keeps it in bounds, able to save it, though, and get it to Mertens. Cutting in there was Vetch. Going back to Mertens on the far side. Inside to Olsen, back to Winju. Now out to Vetch. Vetch over to Winju at the top of the key. Winju looks inside. Bounce pass over to Mertens. Cutting back along the baseline, and a foul called against the Deacons. Excellent ball movement that time by the Firebirds. They just couldn't really find a clean shot.
And you were saying it earlier, Jed. They got, Firebirds got a couple early possessions here. They're able to turn into points, but, they don't feel like they have a lot of momentum. They're still kind of struggling. They're turning the ball over, committing some fouls, see if they can solidify some momentum.
Busick taps that one out of bounds. No time really ran off there, and even 30 stays on the shot clock as this one's inbounded to Brown. Brown, a heck of a shot made there with Kelly Chrisman right in her face. Able to make it 39-30 now as Busick looks to take this one across the half-court line. Busick into Chrisman. Chrisman across back to Busick. Busick back to Chrisman. Deacons switching things up, trying to work more in the paint here, it seems. And now Payne will drive inside, kicking out to Huber. Huber open for three, and she drains it.
Yeah, you were saying, Jed, they got a couple substitutions here. They got some more size on the court here for the Deacons and the Firebirds, and they're kind of creating some mismatches.
Yeah, Hakeem is subbed in now for Shanley, and they're trying to use both her and Chrisman down low to get maybe a size mismatch. 6-point lead here for the Firebirds as Olsen almost has that one taken away by Busick. They'll call the jump ball, maybe a little quick on that one as it looked like Olsen maintained possession. But it's a good job nonetheless by Busick to force it.
Appears to be a wet spot on the floor here, or maybe some little blood or something.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that is. I think Winju was just indicating that, yeah, I think like you said, it was a wet spot, so take a break to clean that up. And Jake, another thing we talked about in the first half that we got to watch for is which team, if either team does, which team's going to fatigue here after such a back and forth kind of a foot race of a first half, you know, going up and down the court, running a lot. Again, Devils Lake was pushing that pace of play. You know, it's going to be interesting to see if they burn themselves out, if they did burn themselves out in that first half, if they burn Shanley out, or if both teams are just going to keep rolling here. So far, neither one has looked fatigued. Inbound is to Mertens. Mertens goes to the corner to Vetch. Vetch looking for three. No go that time. However, the pass from Payne is too strong for Busick, and it rolls out of bounds. That's a tough break for Shanley, and that's just what we've seen from them all too often tonight, Jake. You know, when Devils Lake gives them an opening, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot like you saw there.
Absolutely, Jed. And, you know, it was the right look. It was there, but they're just not, you know, crisp on their technicalities.
And, well, there's a nice pass by Devils Lake. That's been the difference maker. The pass Shanley couldn't connect on, Devils Lake does that time, and they get points out of it. Here's Busick on the near side. Finds Hakeem out of the double team. Excellent defense played, though, by Vetch, able to take it away. Vetch going back down. She'll hand off over to Winju. Winju back to Vetch. Slicing through the Shanley defense, flipping it up for two. Cannot get it to go, though. Hakeem gets the board. Mertens pokes it away. Still working against Payne. Payne steps back, goes across to Huber, and Huber now has some space to work with. Huber into Hakeem, spinning around for two, no good. And the rebound's collected by Winju.
Firebirds have built an early 8-point lead here in the first half. If they see if they can keep their lead going here, as seems that Hakeem has committed a foul here.
Yeah, that appears to be the call, Jake, down low. And it's Shanley who's had the trouble with the fouls here to start off the second. That is their third. Devils Lake has yet to commit one. I will say that is how the first half started. Shanley was committing more of the fouls, and then it kind of evened out at the end. Devils Lake got into some trouble. Both teams ended up in the bonus, though. And another fresh face out there for Shanley. Liz Dabbert going to come in, another one of those post players. They'll take Chrisman and Hakeem out. They'll put Dabbert in, and they'll also bring Mattern back in. She was not a huge factor offensively in that first half, but she was a big disruptor defensively.
Interesting to see the substitution there. When Shanley had put in a couple of sizable players, they were able to get some open looks out on the perimeter.
Yeah, clearly they're going to try to maintain that with Dabbert in there. I guess they don't feel like they need two in there. One thing to think about, though, as this ball is going to be turned over now by the Deacons, is we talked about the fatigue aspect. We are seeing these fresh faces for Shanley. Devils Lake, on the other hand, is sticking with that same unit they used in the first half. You got to wonder if the Deacons are a little bit gassed now rotating in some of these new girls. Payne grabs the rebound, had it ripped away by Mertens, but looks like they'll get Mertens or Brown perhaps. No, they will get Mertens for the foul there. So Devils Lake committing their first of this half. 9-point lead for Devils Lake as Payne inbounds to Busick. Busick working against Winju. Winju doing a good job staying with her all the way down. Excellent job there by Mattern to find separation, flipping it up for 2. No good. Ziegler gets the board. Ziegler throws it across now to Mertens. Mertens driving down, found an opening, goes out to Vetch. Vetch had some space, back to Mertens, inside to Ziegler. Now Ziegler gets rejected hard, a little too hard by Huber that time. Looks like she might have caught some forearm there, and she'll get called for the foul. Ziegler will go to the line.
We'll have to see here if the Firebirds can maintain their accuracy here at the charity stripe here in the second half. They continue to build on their already 9-point lead early on.
Yeah, they did a really good job at the line in the first half, like you said. Ziegler no good on the first try, though, as Johnson's going to come back in for Devils Lake. And looks like, yeah, we had a false start there. A couple girls jumped the gun. So Ziegler will get another try here. So try number 3 for Ziegler, and she does convert. So tough mistake there for Shanley. They give Ziegler a third try, and she's able to capitalize as now Huber just collects this pass, gets it over to Dabbert. Dabbert spins around. That one tipped, but she was able to get over to Busick. Busick across to Payne. Open for 3. No good off the rim, and Mertens is there to get the rebound. Mertens all the way down to Winju. Winju going to stop, let things settle down, go over to Mertens, then to Johnson in the corner for the long 2. That's off the rim, no good. Payne got the rebound. Johnson takes it away, though, able to get it to Mertens, who gets 2 points.
Great offensive rebound, turn it into points. Great play there, great fight by the Firebirds.
Yeah, just a good overall possession there for Devils Lake, able to keep getting those rebounds. It was a factor in the first half as well. They collected a lot of their own offensive rebounds, and they were able to get points because they got so many second and third chances. Busick flipping this one up, does not make it to the rim. It's going to be taken away by Mertens. Mertens then giving it to Winju. Winju cutting inside, looking for 2. No, but she's going to be fouled. They'll get Busick there, it appears. And Jake, don't look now, but it is a 12-point lead here for Devils Lake with 11:30 to go.
You're absolutely right, Jed. I mean, the Firebirds have been fighting early. They've been fighting hard. They've been, they've still been turning the ball over themselves, but the turnovers that they have forced Shanley to convert, they've turned into points, and Shanley just hasn't done the same, which is really the main difference here early in the second half.
And so Shanley going to take a timeout, a wise decision as the momentum has really swung over to Devils Lake. And so with this timeout, we do want to take a minute to remind you that Shanley TV is made possible in part by the Shanley Athletic Club and their generous members. Check out their website today at shanleyathleticClub.com to learn how your membership contributes to Shanley TV, the Deacon Den, and many other student-athlete needs. While you're there, be sure to renew your annual membership by clicking the Join Now button or become a member if you're not one already. It's easy to become a member and anyone can join, so sign up today. The Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon Athletics to a higher level. So Shanley wisely taking the timeout here, Jake. They're down 12, and like we said earlier, it's a quiet 12. It doesn't really feel like it. It feels like Devils Lake has been in control, but the lead has never felt like more than 4 or 5, at least I think, throughout this game. But 12 points now, that's a pretty big lead.
I agree. And, this is, the time when you have to take time out, and as a coach, talk to your players, get them in the right mindset to come out and fight back to finish strong here for the second half.
So that timeout was called before Winju was headed to the line to shoot 2, perhaps icing her. Not the case, at least on the first try, though, as Winju is good on 1. Second try for Winju here. Good as well, and so that's going to make it a 14-point lead for the Firebirds. Huber unable to collect that one. Good defense played by Brown, and it's out of bounds. Last touch by Shanley. And Jake just smothering defense here from the Firebirds.
Absolutely. They're not letting anything in easy. They're picking them up in full court, but very impressive here early.
Winju has it now on the near side. Busick playing tight D. She'll cycle around to the top of the key. Backing off and now cutting inside, looking for some space. Gets it over to Brown. Brown working along the baseline, throws one up, teetering around the edge, does not go. Rebound grab, though, by Mertens. An awkward shot. doesn't fall, but she is fouled, and Shanley having trouble defending in the paint. That's another foul.
Offensive rebound again by Devils Lake, able to not walk away with the field goal, but get to the line, have an opportunity to get some points on the board. Along with that, they've Jed, you were talking about their tight defense. They've kept that up this entire game. Now we're getting almost halfway through the second half here, and they haven't slowed down one bit. It's still high pace, high work.
And they're really breaking this game open, Jake, now with a 16-point lead, another 2 converted at the line. And, yeah, that pace of play has just been back-breaking. I mean, they've continued rolling the same girls, too, is the crazy part. They haven't really had to sub in anyone else outside of those girls they used in the first half, and they don't look tired at all. A very well-conditioned team, and you have to be when you play like they do, as Huber goes up for 2 and 1, exactly the type of play they needed. The one good thing you can say about this run Devils Lake has been on for Shanley is that so many of their points have been scored off free throws. The clock really hasn't been moving for a ton of it. So there's still 11 minutes left here, which is more than enough time for Shanley to come back and then some as Huber completes the 3-point play.
Absolutely, and that's just what they needed. Get a little step in their favor and hopefully get one of their main players going here for the rest of the game.
Johnson going to go to Brown now. Brown on the far wing. Finds Hellman. Now open for the long 2. It's Johnson, and she drains it.
Basket good by Abby Johnson.
The one edge that we've really seen from Shanley as Mertens looks to get another steal here. It's loose on the ground, somehow winds up in the arms of Dabbert, who puts one up off the glass. No good. Rebound. Grab that time by Winju. Jake, the one thing we have seen that Shanley has a clear advantage in is that 3-ball. Devils Lake does not shoot it a lot. They do have, I think, at least one so far in this game, but they've not tried it very much. Shanley, on the other hand, they've scored a lot of their points from deep. Well, here's Winju trying to prove me wrong. In and out, though. Brown can't get the rebound as Huber collects. But that's an area I'd like to see Shanley try and exploit, set up that deep ball a bit, because Devils Lake can't really keep pace in that regard.
Absolutely, that's one of the main reasons that Shanley still at least has a chance here in the second half. They were able to rack up some threes early in the first, and like you're saying, they had success early. Let's see if they can bring it back here for the second half for a run.
Brown over to Winju on the far side. A whistle, though. And, Jake, I'm not sure what that was that they're going to get Devils Lake for.
Looks like a block.
Yeah, it looks like we have an offensive foul here against Brown. That's her third as she'll come off. So that makes it 3 team fouls for Devils Lake. 15-point lead for them as Payne finds Huber on the bomb, and Huber gets the basket and one.
What a pass there by Riley Payne. Great court vision. Almost like a quarterback, laying it out in front of Hallie Huber where she could go get it and, go up strong, draw the contact. Now the chance for her second 3-point play in a row here.
And Payne had missed on that play several times earlier in the game. This time she was deadly accurate with the pass, however, as Huber's Huber's free throw does not connect, and the rebound is grabbed by Winju. It's another key area where Devils Lake has been dominating on the stat sheet, has been the rebounds. They've been very good with those as Winju makes the spin move and goes up for 2 to make it a 15-point lead once again.
It looks like Shanley's defense is almost softened up a little bit. Like you were saying, maybe they're getting a little bit tired. They're leaving lots of gaps where Devils Lake is able to fill and starting to capitalize on some really quality points.
Well, Jake, they're really pushing the pace of play offensively. We're seeing it every time now, after a Devils Lake basket, they're sending 2 girls streaking down the court immediately. They're moving fast on offense, and I think they're almost tiring themselves out and not leaving much left in the tank defensively because they know they're down so much, and you can't be doing that because even if you're scoring, if you're letting points in, you're not making any progress. So maybe going a little too far in that direction are the Deacons. We do have a foul here going against Devils Lake, and this is what we talked about in that first half. Shanley got into the foul trouble early, then they backed off, and Devils Lake started the foul. That's what we've seen here in the second half as well. That same pattern has appeared.
Substitution, we got Natalie Heinrich coming in here for, looks like Hallie Huber. Looks like maybe trying to get one of your good players a quick break to come back strong here in this final 8.5 minutes.
Not to mention with the defensive deficiencies we've talked about as Devils Lake makes another good defensive play here. with those defensive deficiencies, it's not a surprise to see them put in Heinrich, a very defensive-oriented player. They're probably, like you said, resting Huber up for a final run here. They'll give her a minute or two off while they put Heinrich out there to just try and keep Devils Lake off the board. Heinrich collects and then gives to Manuel. Inside they go to Schrema, who puts one up off the glass for two. Schrema, the 6'2" freshman, in there now as Shanley is trying some new things. Again, they're looking to exploit a size advantage in the post. Here is Ziegler out top. Ziegler over to Winju. Winju looking for Mertens, but it's taken away that time by Payne. Able to flip it up to Busick. Busick stops, pulls up for two, and gets it. Momentum swinging back here now. Devils Lake on their heels. Ziegler gets it to Winju, just about stepped over that time as it's poked out of bounds by Payne, and Shanley's got some life.
What a quick turn of events there. A great play made down low by a freshman, and then turnover turned into easy points for Kate Busick.
Firebirds wisely spend the timeout here. 7:57 to go. They're up 11, but the pendulum has swung in direction of the Shanley Deacons.
Be interesting to see, after the timeout, if they can keep a little fire alive. And, now they're down 11. They still plenty of time, just under 8 minutes. It sometimes can be tough for younger teams to maintain streaks like this to get themselves back in the game. Let's see if maybe some younger players can step up, take charge, and finish strong.
And before we get back to the action, we have an update from boys hockey play. South Shanley up in Grand Forks taking on undefeated Grand Forks Central. That game was 0-0 after the first. It is now 6-0 in the second. Grand Forks Central's really opened things up. And not too much of a surprise there. They've been dominating the competition this year, Jake. As look at this. Kate Busick makes the steal and gets 2 points. That's exactly what you want coming off the timeout. Ziegler now going to feed that one to Vetch. Vetch bringing it down fast. Firebirds trying to get an answer, but that one's poked away and stolen, and they are all out of sorts right now. Huber to Payne for three. No good off the glass. Ziegler grabs the board. Ziegler over to Mertens. Mertens now to Vetch. Vetch going to bring it in. She goes to Olsen. Olsen fakes. Out top, going to go to Johnson, and now Devils Lake will attempt to slow things down.
Kind of the first time we've seen them actually try to slow it down as
Vetch hits the three, and we talked about that three ball not really being there. Great time for it to show up, as that's an excellent pass break up by Abby Johnson. Gets the head around and knocks it away.
They were a little out of sorts there. They slowed themselves down, and it's great to have a dynamic team that can really play fast, but also slow down, take control when they need to, and get some quick points on the board as they just did.
Kate Busick with it off the inbound, 23 seconds on the shot clock after it was knocked out of bounds. Busick taking her time with it, going to try and work along the baseline. That pass intended for Payne, able to scoop it up off the ground, and now a foul called against Devils Lake as Payne will head to the line.
Fouls on number 5, Abby Johnson, 4th personal, 6th foul.
After the three by Vetch there, it's now a 12-point lead for the Firebirds. With right at 7 minutes. And as you were saying earlier, as a great feed down low to Huber, can't finish.
Yeah, Huber trying the, I'm not even sure what to call that, kind of the inverted layup that time, unable to get it to go. Huber now working against Winju. Cuts back inside, looking for two, won't get it, wants the call, won't get that either. Good defense played by Busick. Vetch, though, excellent recovery as that ball just gets off over to Winju. The Firebirds have numbers. Brown going up for two, doesn't get the basket, but draws the foul. And this has been an excellent recovery from Devils Lake, Jake.
Sure thing. And, as you were saying earlier, it's still, not a super clean game, but, lots of turnovers and out of bounds. But what that's doing is it's leaving a lot of time on the clock for both teams to work and kind of recover. But at the same time, that leaves a lot more time for those players to wear down a little bit, both mentally and physically.
Brown continuing to have a very nice game, scoring in bunches for Devils Lake here as she hits on the first free throw. The second attempt, no good, in and out. Rebound loose, and Payne grabs it. Brown staying tight on Payne right off the bat. Payne over to Huber, and then back to Payne as she'll look to slow things down.
one of the first times tonight here where Shanley is able to, pull the ball out and not just seem frantic.
Yeah, absolutely, Jake. They don't look as desperate, which is good. They look a little cleaner, but just as we were saying that, looks like they'll catch Huber for a foul here, as she was battling it out with Ziegler down low.
Ball number 3, Shanley Huber, third personal.
And that's Huber's third. We are in the bonus here, so Ziegler is going to go all the way down for a free throw.
And that's something to keep in mind here. There's, it's her third personal, but, 6 minutes left at this pace. It'll be interesting to see if coaching staff decides to leave Huber in here and, keep one of your playmakers on the floor or try to play it safe and hope she isn't, going to commit that fourth and leading to fifth foul.
So the free throw from Ziegler, no good. Loose ball, though, is called a jump ball, so it'll stay with Devils Lake. So Brown goes into Ziegler. Ziegler has to fight for it. It's loose and then grabbed by Payne. Shanley exploiting that height advantage as Payne launches a dart towards Busick, but too strong and too high as it goes out of bounds.
It was the right look, but we've seen her, not just her alone, but, from both sides, these passes that, they have good looks, but they're sloppy, whether they're overhands or, slow bounce passes where they're really just kind of giving the ball to the other team.
Vetch to Olsen inside to Brown. Brown, tough shot, can't get it to go. Fighting for the rebound, and Busick took it away. Here is Payne with it along the near side now. Payne has Olsen right across from her, in a bit of trouble. Good job getting it away to Busick. Wide open three. Splash! Busick gets it to go. And that cuts the lead to 10.
Great find there by Payne, finding the open Busick. Young player stepping up, making a big-time shot. As you're saying, Jed, it's 10-point lead here now for the Firebirds, and they're kind of a little bit shaken up.
Yeah, and you can't be leaving Busick that wide open, Jake, on that last play. They brought in two girls on Payne in the corner. They thought they had her pinned, but someone overran on that defensive play, left Busick open. Payne had room to pass, and they made him pay. But yeah, Jake, Devils Lake on their heels here. It's a funny thing to say when they're up by 10, but the way Shanley has scored, it's been in quick bursts, and you just feel like they could at any moment go on a run to even this up. That's the thing about basketball. 5:40 to score 10 points is plenty of time.
Absolutely. And then you take into the fact that, all of these turnovers that, if one team or the other were to take solid advantage of, would absolutely run away with it with absolutely no problems there.
So Devils Lake taking the timeout to try and catch their breath here, as Shanley hit the big three to make it a 10-point lead. And so it will be Brown to inbound as they look to regain some of those points. Here goes Brown along the far side. Double team on her. That pass blocked, but Vetch got to it. Vetch having that ball poked at, able to get over to Olsen. Olsen open for three, no good. Maybe a little too open, puts it off the glass. Now here's Busick with Mertens on her. Mertens gets on top of it, forces the jump ball. It'll stay with Shanley, but just tenacious defense from Mertens all game long.
I mean, really, she's been, especially on defense, as you were saying, Jed. I mean, every play, scrapping, if she's finding the ball, making the Deacons pay for it.
Here's Chrisman with it. Chrisman looking for someone to give it off to, able to find Huber. Huber steps back. Good pressure put on Huber, and a travel called against Hadley Huber. That's what that double team can do to you, forces those mental mistakes, and they'll turn the ball over. Brown has it, barely finding Mertens there. Tiny window she put the ball into. Mertens goes up, doesn't get the points. Probably looking for the foul there. Nothing there, though. And the foul is called this time on the shot by Olsen.
Two quick offensive rebounds there for Devils Lake. And now you have, again, another quick opportunity to put a couple points on the board from the foul line here.
So here's Olsen. First try is good. Makes it an 11-point lead.
Interesting note that it's not only on the offensive side of the ball, but I'd say also on the defensive side of the ball, Firebirds are definitely out-rebounding Shanley. despite Shanley's extra size capabilities.
Yeah, that's been a huge difference in this game, Jake, as she hits the second free throw as well to make it a 12-point lead. Busick coming down with it. Puts it inside to Chrisman. Chrisman looking. Chrisman hanging on this one a little too long. Able to get off to Schrema. Schrema out top to Huber. Huber inside to Chrisman. Spins around for two. No good, but she is fouled. And that's one thing Kelly Chrisman has done very well in this game. She's been able to draw a lot of contact and get those fouls called when really nobody else on this Deacon team has been able to draw those fouls.
And interesting, now we're starting to see a little bit getting Kelly Chrisman down low, feeding her the ball. And, here she has an opportunity to put a couple points on the board, but we haven't seen them do that all game long. And there's really no one on this Devils Lake team that can really match her for size or strength. We'd be interested to see her, last just under 5 minutes, see if they continue with the same theory.
Well, that's a tough break there as Chrisman can't convert on either. Shanley needed those. So here is Winju. Winju going to bring it across the half-court line. Busick staying on top of her, able to get over to Ziegler. Ziegler at the top of the key, looking inside for Brown. Unable to find the seam there, so she goes to Vetch. Now to Brown outside. Brown across to Mertens. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Mertens back out top to Vetch. Vetch going to cut inside, pulling up for two. Awkward shot, finds its way in though. 61-47 now in favor of the Firebirds as Busick will bring it down along the near side. Busick goes left, looking inside, gets it to Chrisman. Chrisman open there with some space, puts a girl down, and they call the charge on Chrisman. Ziegler went down, and that'll turn the ball over here again with 3:51 left. It's a 14-point lead for the Firebirds.
That's Chrisman's second offensive foul of the game. She is a very strong, very physical player who plays big, but you got to be careful as she heads to the bench here to not overdo yourself.
Almost a big error there by Devils Lake as Brown had to go up pretty high to collect that pass. Now in the corner, it's Vetch. Vetch at the last second. Payne contested it. It's a three. And the free throw attempt as Payne caught her fingertips there at the end. And that is a huge play here. Vetch wide open. Payne, right idea to come in there and contest it, but she just slaps the forearm there of Vetch, and they'll have to call that every time.
This could be a huge swing here for Devils Lake.
The
4-point play, and she connects on the free throw.
Yeah,
that's a solid 12-point. Nope, I can't do math. 19,
18.
18. There it is. That's how math works.
Just about
point lead, and that's really tough to come back from high school girls basketball in under 4 minutes.
Yeah, even when we talked about the three ball of Shanley, able to score in bunches and kind of erase those leads, but that's a tall order with 3:17 left now as Schrema couldn't get that one to go. 18-point lead, like we said. Mertens coming down with it inside, looking for Brown. Very uncharacteristic error there as Mertens puts it too high. And Dabbert will come in now for Shanley as Payne will look to inbound. So Payne goes into Huber. Huber with Brown right on top of her. Brown's going to make her work for every inch here. Huber goes out top to Busick. Busick driving inside now. Screen set by Manuel. Unable to generate a lot of space, though, and so Huber has it out top once again. Huber cuts inside for two. No. But they did call the foul before. So the foul before the shot didn't matter, though. The shot didn't fall, so Huber will get to go to the line here. And this is more of what Shanley needed, Jake. They needed that penetration from those guard positions. They needed to, even if they weren't scoring on those slashing scoring attempts, they needed to draw some contact, get some fouls. That is not what happened tonight. You got this play, obviously, but it might be a little too late.
Absolutely, and I think all night long, whether it was from the guards getting some penetration or getting some, high-low action with some posts, we just never saw a lot of action down low, nor did they really have the option to. They were often turning the ball over before they crossed half court.
So Vetch will come across with it. Huber staying tight with her. Firebirds definitely going to try and hold on to this ball, you would think, for as long as possible. Ball over to Olsen now on the far wing. Olsen finds Mertens. Mertens for 3 off the rim, no good. And Busick gets the rebound. Brown tight on Busick. She goes down and loses it. And they'll say Brown got a little too much contact there, putting Busick down. So Busick will go all the way down for the free throw attempt. 2:22 left. And you know, Jake, this is the way you want to be scoring if you're Shanley. You know, when you're scoring off free throws, the clock's not running. And, you know, Devils Lake at this point, you might want to, you know, you still want to play your press because that's what's gotten you to this position. But to a degree, you're going to want to try and avoid those fouls as much as you can. All you care about really at this point is that the clock is running. And
you have it absolutely right, Jed. I mean, I think from Shanley's standpoint, the only shot you have here is to, you know, score your points off free throws when that clock isn't ticking, and to hopefully make a few big plays to have a chance to get you back in it. But, you know, late Firebirds have been dominant, putting points on the board when they need to, and definitely being the more composed team.
So here's Busick on her second try, no good, so she goes 1 for 2 on that trip. And now Vetch will bring it down court for Devils Lake. Firebirds still pushing the pace here, moving pretty fast with the ball. Now they're backing off a little as Winju will hang on to it up top, goes over to Vetch. Vetch to Olsen looking inside. Not a lot of options for Olsen. She gets it over to Vetch on the near side, and Vetch is just going to have to launch one here, going up for 2, and she gets it. The spinorama gets it to fall and makes it a 17-point lead.
That's a perfect possession there. You know, scoring with 1 second left on the shot clock, points on the board, plus ticking off 30 seconds. As Dabbert gets fouled down low there.
Absolutely, Jake. Perfect possession's the best way to describe that. And that's just kind of how you know, that's how you know it's been your night, you know. You let all that time wind off, you just kind of launch one up there for the heck of it, and it just falls for you. That's a good night, and it's certainly been a great night here so far for Devils Lake. Dabbert converts that first attempt.
Checking in for the Deacons, number 2, McCormick Mars. Avery Ziegler back in for the Firebirds.
Seems that number 2, McKenna Bars, has checked in for Deacons.
And Dabbert goes 2 for 2 there. And Coach Jacobson going to call a timeout here immediately following, as he'll try and figure out the game plan now with 1:40 to go, down 15. Jake, you know, it's not impossible, but 1:40 to go, down 15, you know, we're getting into pretty improbable territory, I would say.
You're definitely right there, Jed. I mean, you know, you're finally, these last 5 minutes from Deacons, you're at least finding a couple things that are working. You know, it would have been great to see them try to figure that out. You know, end of the first half, go into the second, or go into halftime, drop a couple game plans, and come out to try to execute those second half. But you know, it's just a little too late, and it would be one heck of a comeback here from Shanley, down 15 under 2 minutes.
That's for sure. They're going to try and make it tough here, going with the press, trying to generate those turnovers. Excellent work, though, by Devils Lake, although that's not what you want. That's the dream scenario for Shanley as that ball goes out of bounds. So a turnover there for the Firebirds. It'll be Payne to inbound as Shrema checks in for Bars. Here is Payne over to Huber. Right back to Payne, and now they got to go down and score quick. Shrema has it, and she's open, but not much of a shooter, more of a post player, so she's got to give it over to Payne, and a great effort there by the Firebirds getting the jump ball. That was a risky play. You risk the foul, but it pays off. And so now Johnson will come in for Devils Lake, Manuel for Shanley, and Johnson will inbound here. 1:24 to go. Johnson looking down court. Somehow, someway, Winju comes up with that one, and wide open. It is an easy layup for Mertens to make it a 17-point lead. Payne going to come down with it. Crosses over, looking for 2. No good, though. Rebound collected by Mertens. Mertens content to hang on to this one for a little bit, just keep burning some clock. Now over to Winju. Winju takes a step back. Shanley getting ready for some mass subs, and now Devils Lake takes the timeout.
Timeout taken by Devils Lake.
And this will be a good timeout for both teams, as I imagine both teams will cycle in some new players.
And that's always a good thing to see, towards the end of the games, you get some younger players, try to give them a little bit of experience at a little higher level game. And, at this point, Shanley down 17. Yep. And, it wasn't their night, but, you can still walk away with, especially some younger players, throughout the game. It's not just this last minute here, but throughout the game, we've seen lots of different subs coming off, and, maybe you can take that to the next game.
So, Jake, 58.8 to go. It's that 17-point lead for Devils Lake. And, yeah, like we talked about, just probably going to do those mass subs, although, Shanley had them all queued up, and it doesn't look like they're in position to go in anymore. As Olsen will inbound here for Devils Lake. Here, Olsen going to go to Winju. Winju works along the baseline for two, and she gets it.
Basket by Taylor Winju.
Makes it 71-52 as Manuel will go down court with it. Now Shanley getting ready to put those subs in. Great pass from Manuel to Payne, and Payne converts on the three. That was a dart from Olivia Manuel. I think a no-looker as well. She didn't really even look in the direction of Payne, so pretty impressive feed, as now looks like the Deacons committed a foul there.
First personal.
They'll get bars for the foul. The intentional foul, you would imagine, just trying to conserve clock here.
Abby Johnson at the free throw line.
So Johnson at the line. First one is good, and now the substitutions for Shanley. Shrema, McAllister, Bird, Wilson, and Heinrich will all check in for Shanley. Second attempt is also good from Johnson. That makes it 73-55. Heinrich now takes it up the near side. Crosses over, goes into Shrema. Shrema looking, goes back out now to McAllister, and McAllister gets it over to Heinrich. Heinrich stops, looks, then goes to McAllister. She's going to take the three. No good. Rebound grab by Mertens. And now with 12 seconds left, Devils Lake can run the clock out here. And you imagine that's what will happen, is they'll just keep moving the ball. 5 seconds to go. And that will do it as the clock runs out and the horn sounds. The final score, 73-55 in favor of Devils Lake. Jake, we knew Devils Lake was good. We're talking about two undefeated teams here coming in to battle it out. I think we thought it was going to be a lot closer than this,
Right, and second half there, what was really the deciding factor was both teams weren't playing clean. There was lots of turnovers, fouls, but Devils Lake was the one team that was able to capitalize on more of them than Shanley was, and that was the big contributor to their win tonight.
And it does. I will say I think the final score a little more lopsided than the game. I think Shanley, at least in my opinion, it felt like Shanley was really in it up until the last about 4 minutes or so. It was still around a 10-point deficit, and you felt like they could come back. I do think it's closer than that score shows. The one thing I'll say, though, is this does raise some questions for the Deacons going forward about how they're going to play against a full-court press type of team like Devils Lake. The Firebirds aren't the only team in the state. They certainly aren't the only team in the state that can run this type of system, that can keep that pace up. They might be one of the best at doing it, but, I think that's something Shanley's going to have to address here, as they're going to face teams that do this to them, and clearly their offense was not quite prepared for it.
Absolutely. It's something you got to look at in practice. Maybe watch back at some game film and see what was where your breakdowns were. Like we were saying earlier, it's a younger team, but you got to have a couple leaders. Some young ones that step up, take control, and are able to especially with the press, you have to have a leader that you can the ball into the hands of, and not have to worry too much about them turning it over like we saw all night long.
Yeah, and a big part of that, like you said, is just that experience. Only one senior on this team. Not a ton of girls on the Shanley team have seen a team like Devils Lake that can keep that pace up, that can do that full court press all game long. Very few of those girls have played against a team like that in varsity action, and so it's just that experience factor that I think comes into play. The good news for Shanley is you face this defense, you face this team early in the season, so hopefully they can make those adjustments and be better prepared when they have to play Devils Lake again later on.
Absolutely, and it's not only facing Devils Lake later on, but I think this was a great eye-opener for them to see where some of their weaknesses were, and for their upcoming opponents to really watch their film and apply it as best they can.
All right, well, that's looking pretty far forward into the season. Certainly a lot to look forward to. However, for tonight, for Jake Pollard, and for our entire crew, I'm Jed Thomas. Your final score from Fargo: Shanley Deacons 55, Devils Lake Firebirds 73. To watch the archive version of this entire game and our other broadcasts, go to ShanleyTV.com. The proceeding has been a presentation of Shanley TV.